ask the panelists,
Yeah.
it would be natural. So we'll
Yeah,
try and do that again.
And Hannah and I did that ish. I mean, we said 15, but then there was, the panel change, and you just go, let's do it now. Yeah. Sure. Thanks. There we go. Yeah, I'm waiting till after I've done this before I start drinking. Cool. Janice, Nick and June, wasn't it? From what I remember. Yeah.
June might not be here.
Okay.
Janice and Nick.
Exactly. Yeah. I haven't got that energy. Yeah.
I've lost my connection, it's buffering.
Okay.
Is it? It's okay. No, green belt, it's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martin Atkins. Welcome to the Green Belt Festival. This is a panel by In Place for War. Creativity conquers COVID. Grassroots creative resistance in the pandemic. The new album by I'm joined by Changemaker from South America. Them, and then tell you all about themselves, and then we'll have a presentation. First, I want to introduce Ana Carla from Brazil. She's a communicator, social media, and cultural producer. She's going to talk about how the Black community is supporting itself financially and socially in times of COVID and the learnings of this delicate moment. She's worked for companies such as Red Bull, and Coletivo Centopia was part of the production of Festival Bananada, the largest alternative music festival in the Brazilian Midwest, and currently works at the Mexican agency Colocando Ideas, where she has clients such as Adobe and Adobe Stock. Would you like to introduce yourself, Anna?
Yeah, hi guys, how are you? It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm Anna, as Martin said, and today I'm really inspired by all the previous panels to talk about creativity and how the Black community is supporting itself in this difficult time. And this is so important because when you see data, what is happening between Black individuals and white individuals is so different. So today we will expand a little bit more about this subject, and I'm sure it will be great. It will be such a great exchange. So super happy to be here, and that's it.
Great. Thank you, Anna. Next up, I want to introduce Tiago Jesus from Brazil and also based in the UK, Senior Project Manager at People's Palace Projects, PPP, Arts Research Centre that's based at Queen Mary University of London. And Tiago's going to be talking about the cultural exchange program with the Kuturo indigenous people from Upper Zingu. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Exploring ways in which arts and technology can support the preservation of fragile communities in the Amazon region and the collective civil society effort to protect the community amid coronavirus. And Tiago is a London-based Brazilian creative producer, researcher, and curator with extensive experience in cross-cultural initiatives and knowledge exchange, cultural diplomacy, social and climate justice. And Tiago holds an MA in visual culture and is a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts. Please welcome Tiago. You want to introduce yourself, Tiago?
Hi, Martin. Thank you very much for the introduction. I don't think I can say anything else that you don't have said already, but it's just a great pleasure to be here. And I would like just to take this opportunity to thank Greenbelt team and In Place of War for the invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here with everyone.
Yeah, I want to second that. It's a remarkable effort and so great to be doing something while we're all socially distanced in all the different places we are. Lastly, I want to introduce, Camilo Moreno, who's here on behalf of the Tuna El Fuerte organization. He'll be talking about Radio Verdura, a mobile sound system. This sounds like a lot of fun. A mobile sound system that's been driving around the city, playing music, sending messages of love to the lockdown population, battling the feelings of isolation. And Tuna El Fuerte says it's Caribbean mental health therapy in times of social distancing. It's an innovative use of social technology to create entertainment, purposeful mobilization, and to reconnect people. It defends the sowing and harvesting of smiles. I love that. Camilo, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Martin. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. And I'm Camilo. I'm DJ. I'm a DJ of the sound system, Radio Verdura. And I want to talk about our experience and in our context in Venezuela with all the COVID and economic crisis we live in now, and the kind of link we promote to communicate with the people. And so I'm just having fun, and I enjoy that link we have that offer In Place of War and Greenbelt. So that's all.
Okay, so let's begin our individual presentations. I'm going to present last from my space here in Chicago. And just to introduce myself, I'm a musician who's been a part of Public Image Limited, Killing Joke, Ministry, Nine Inch Nails. I've been carrying that punk rock philosophy forwards in my life. I'm teaching here in Chicago, writing books and trying to make a difference. And I'm thrilled to have been invited to be a part of this. So let's start our presentation portion of today. And Anna, do you want to start with your presentation?
Sure. Hi guys, such a pleasure to be here again. Here you have my contact info if you want to talk more about the subject. So everything is here, but today we won't talk about me. We will talk about the Black community and how things are happening in Brazil right now. I brought data that says that 55% of Black people that got COVID died, in contrast of 38% of white people who died of the disease in Brazil. This is such a hard number to face, you know, as a Black woman, and it's even harder to face if we think that this is not a number that's only for Brazil. This is a number that also is found in UK communities, in US community, all over the world. If you see, people who are dying the most of COVID are Black people. So I brought this data talking about Brazil, but if you search all through the internet, you'll find similar data in different countries. And one thing that many people were curious about or wanting to know more about is that if having COVID and dying more has anything to do with being Black or genetic issues. And we know that diseases like diabetes makes the situation worse. But one thing that I think it needs to be more highlighted is this is not genetic issues. Black people are not dying more of COVID because they are more get more chances to get the disease or whatever. It's because when you see who are the poor people in all those countries that I said before, that mainly of the Black people is poor or vice versa. So when you see COVID brought us a new issue and new situations to face, but is bringing some attention to problems that already exist in our countries, especially in Brazil. It is the country I'm from. So if you see the data, Black people are dying because they are poor, not because of genetic issues. So poverty is the main issues, and poverty in most of colonized countries was created because of racism and slavery. So, and one thing that people say sometimes is like, you had all this time to protest, and why you are doing this right now? Why you are doing this? And like risking yourselves going out on the street to protest to lives and for things that were already happened, like police brutality in the past. But right now, Black people are being affected by all sides, and we can even stay at home. If you look at the data, Brazilian Black people didn't stay at home when it was supposed to, because mainly most of them need to work to support their families because they don't have the opportunity, not actually the opportunity, but they don't have the right to stay at home because they are not being supported by the government, and they are suffering from things that racism causes in our lives on daily basis. So when we say stay at home because or else you get COVID, we need to start to think a little bit more about people who can stay at home, because now this situation of COVID brought more attention to things that were already happening in the past. One thing that I really like to talk about, the Black Lives Matter movements that are happening all around the world during this such a delicate time, is that yes, black people's lives matter, but not only they matter, but how Black people are living. We have all this news about police brutality and how Black people died, but how Black people are living in our countries. Do you guys question yourselves on daily basis to find this answer? So this is a thought that I really like to bring to discussions. Like, do you know how your Black friends are living in this period? Do you know if they have enough to go through on daily basis? Do you know how the Black community is supporting itself in such a delicate time? So I brought some examples here for us to be more happy in this discussion, because one of the things that I really believe that is helping the Black community to live through this moment is creativity and supporting itself. Yes, we really need to think about political changes. We really need to think about social support and governmental support. But we know that this isn't a reality right now in Brazil and in many countries. So one thing that I really like to talk about is how the Black community supports itself, how the Black community is so united and kind when we see that other Black people are going through what sometimes maybe we've been through in the past. So here I brought an example of a store called Once Upon a Time the World in Brazil. They were facing hard times during this COVID pandemic, and they launched a campaign, and they started doing and creating dolls. They were already creating the Black dolls to inspire Black kids, but now they have like a lot of dolls made of text material. They were donated from other Black industry or other Black owners that have different stores. So the Black community is supporting itself and finding creative ways to grow, to go through this time. So I really enjoy and love this photo, because it means that even when we Black people feel alone, we are not alone. And to inspire white people to think about how they can support like Black entrepreneurs or Black artists. So this is an image that I really like it a lot. And another thing that I'm seeing a lot here in Brazil is group efforts to help kids, Black kids especially, that are having really hard time in studying at home during this pandemic time. So here I have we have a group in Brazil called Lançando Falcões, and they created this effort to put together money for Black and poor students to study during coronavirus times, because the government isn't doing very much. So it's really important that we make sure that we have our rights assured. But even when that doesn't happen, the Black community finds ways to support each other. So this is two creative initiatives that are saying to the Black community, you should have a better life in this time. Often Black people feel that like they have to be in such a state of grief and anger and sadness. So the Black community says to itself, like, we have a future, we have better days going ahead of us. So I wanted to bring these examples and talk a little bit more of that to inspire you in UK and to tell you how things are going on in Brazil in this difficult time. And I brought some sites of ways you can help. In the first site, we have a website called Gelidus, who is a really nice Brazilian site that you can search through later to see if the works they do in communities that need help here in Brazil. And then I also attached the two websites, the worldwide website and the Black Lives Matter from UK, so you can see and be more aware and be more in touch of what is happening with the Black community in this time. Because I know that everybody is being so stressed in these times, but being aware and the information that these websites can bring to our lives is so vital to the Black community. Being informed is the best way. Being informed, being created, being happy, which is being kind of difficult some days, but having all these such important tools can make these days for the Black communities so much better. And the last thing that I always like to reinforce is that maybe you don't know how to help the Black community in these times, but the resistance and the fight is not a one-way highway. Maybe you should join the protests. Maybe you can organize how to help the community in your neighborhood, maybe. And maybe you can organize, maybe you can protect, maybe you can listen to the Black community to see how you can help. But the main thing that we should not do is to be silent and to be absent of this discussion. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. It's two things at the same time for me. To hear you talk about the situation, the poverty and police brutality. I'm sitting here in Chicago, and this is part of our daily lives too. So I'm feeling connected to you, and also I wish in some ways that we didn't feel that connection. You know, I'm happy to be connected. I wish we were connected in other ways.
Yeah, it's what I said. Like this is, I brought some Brazilian data, but this is happening worldwide. So this is so sad. But the exchange that we are doing here today is to help each other on this path, you know, to find better days on this moment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any comments from Tiago or Camilo before we go on with our next presentation?
Oh,
Okay.
Like to oh, sorry. Do you want to
go
go
ahead.
first, Camilo?
oh, well, still, I think we have the same problems, and your fight is the same of us, so we are together in that.
Yeah, I would just say that it was a very provocative and informative presentation. Thank you, Anna. And it's very, in a way, similar to what I'm going to be talking about, which is about poverty and exclusion, which is at the root of inequality.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tiago, you're presenting next. You want to go ahead and present for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So hello everyone. So my name is Thiago Jesus. I am a Brazilian creative producer, and I work at People's Policy Project. We are an art research center based at Queen Mary University of London, and we work with artists and community organizations investigating how the arts can promote social development in vulnerable territories in various countries, but mainly in Brazil and in the UK. And 5 years ago, we met this guy on the left called Takuma Kwikuru. He is an indigenous filmmaker from the Kwikuru community, and he uses cinema as a way to register the culture of his people. He is also the president of the Indigenous Association of the Kwikuru people. And his name is Takuma, and he knows that their culture is at risk. So he films their songs, their rituals, the knowledge from the elderly, so that future generations can learn about their practices. And he's also an activist. He uses his camera to tell the world about their existence, about indigenous rights, aiming at, you know, he wants to generate awareness of their struggles. So Takuman lives with his community. There are around 800 people in the Kwikuru community. They are divided. They live in 9 different villages, like the one in the photo. And there are other 15 other indigenous groups, about 7,000 people in total living in the Xingu indigenous territory in Brazil. It's a protected area in the south basin of the Amazon, in the very heart of Brazil, as you can see on the map. And I put that image, the satellite image of the territory, because you can see that the Xingu, the territory, is an island of forest surrounded by soy plantations, which is the major driver of deforestation in the Amazon. And these communities, they live very traditional lives. But I chose this last image, the photo of the tattoo, because I think it speaks volumes about how indigenous peoples are our contemporaries. We, and myself, I include myself in this, we tend to have this misconception that indigenous communities are primitive, they are tribal. And although these communities live isolated in the forest, they are in an ongoing exchange with non-indigenous communities. The Kwikuru, they have built roads to nearby cities so they can work, they can shop, they can study, they can visit the relatives living in the cities. And they are they are highly technological community. They have iPhones, they use iMac, everyone is on Facebook and on Instagram. And what I want to say about this is that these indigenous communities, they are very conscious, they make very conscious decisions about how they live, about what is accepted, what is not accepted, in order to preserve their identity. And well, as I said, we've been working with Takuma for 5 years now, and the basis of what we do, of our collaboration, is to support the Kwikuru to document and to represent their own culture using new artistic practices and digital technologies. So what we want to do is to create opportunities for them to dialogue with other artists and cultural organizations from around the world, at the same time that they create awareness of their rights and they generate income to their community. And the Kwikuru, they have built a traditional house, this is in the photo on the top right, that serves as a residency space. And we have, in 2017 and 18, we have organized 3 artistic residencies with 30 artists in total. And among those artists, there were set designers, sound engineers, writers, virtual reality developers, rappers as well. And all of them, they went to the community, they went into this residency to create new work in collaboration with Kwikuru artists. And they all put their practice at the service of documenting the community in kind. And these are some images of what we have achieved together so far. And these photos, these installations, they combine traditional artifacts, stories, collective memories with the digital data that was gathered during the residencies, like augmented reality, 3D scanning, sound recording, film archive. And we have been working together on this project to propose new ways in which we can represent indigenous cultures in museums, new ways of framing how stories are told and by whom. And so far we have shown this work in London, Madrid, New York, of course in Brazil. And we were going to be at the Venice Biennale this year, but then COVID happened. And the Kwikuru, they were very aware of the danger of the virus because historically, indigenous communities in Brazil have been decimated by epidemics. And this one could be something similar because of their communal way of living. You know, you have entire families living in the same household with no ventilation. As Ana was saying, it's very difficult for these communities as well to isolate because they have this very collective way of living. These communities also, they only have one basic unit, health unity, with one nurse that is in the community every other week. The closest intensive care unity for them is 600 kilometers away. So the Kwikuru were really fast in their response to COVID. They immediately closed down the roads connecting the village to the city, and no one was allowed in or out of the village without a good reason. And they also canceled their most important ceremony, the ritual ceremony. It was the first time ever that this festivity was not performed. And as you might be aware of, Bolsonaro's government in Brazil, Bolsonaro expressly said that the government would not extend extra help to indigenous communities during the pandemic. So we as an arts organization, we immediately understood that we had to step in to support the community to survive this pandemic. And we launched a fundraising campaign in the UK aimed at first of supporting the community to remain isolated in the forest so the virus would not get in. And we purchased basic supplies, and we set up a way of bringing all of those items from the closest city, which is 200 kilometers away by the river, on a boat, like 8 hours journey with one person on a small motorboat, all in order to minimize the risk of exposure. And one of our partners in the UK is Simon McBurney, who is, you might know the actor and director of Complicité Theatre Company, because Simon visited Xingu in 2015, and he collaborated with Tacumã on his play The Encounter. And Simon very generously included a video appeal that Tacumã did on the streaming of The Encounter, which was made available for 2 weeks during the lockdown. And Simon also invited Tacumã to participate in various interviews and events online with him, promoting the appeal. And the response was incredible. We raised over £30,000 with this campaign. At the same time that we are doing this campaign in the UK, there was another fundraising going on in the US with another organization, another foundation in the US that had a long-term partnership with the Kwikuro and anthropologists and archaeologists. And they have raised in the US $20,000, yeah. And we then decided to join forces with them. And we started working together on a daily basis via Zoom with the community, UK, US, the Xingu, and we formed what we called the Amazon Hope Collective. And the collective implemented a track and trace system to monitor people arriving and leaving the village. And this system was managed by 3 young people in the community. The Kwikuro have also built a quarantine house to isolate anyone with symptoms. Is the photo there? And they also created an illustrated guide in their language with instructions on how to maintain distance, how to wear a mask, the distance, the 2-meter distance between people. And Tacumã, as well as a filmmaker, he produced various videos and images and interviews that were widely distributed to the press in Brazil and the UK, reporting the situation. So together, this is the list of things that we managed to purchase together with our efforts. But the most important things are that we managed to hire a private doctor and a private nurse to reside in the village. And we equipped their health unity with hospital beds and 6 oxygen cylinders, so we can treat up to 6 patients with respiratory difficulties at the same time. And this health unit is now serving 600 people from 6 villages, and they are providing emergency aid to 3 other posts. So our action is actually reaching 12% of the Xingu population, all with money donated. So last month, when the virus arrived, the virus arrived in the community, but the community was really well prepared to fight it. And at the moment, we have 53 recovered cases and only 2 active cases who are isolated. And all of the cases were treated in the village by this doctor, this nurse, in this health unity. Nobody needed to be removed to the hospital. And we are now organizing a second phase of the campaign so we can keep the doctor and the nurse in the community for the next 3 or 6 months, and to build a proper lasting infrastructure for the health clinic with solar panels providing 24-hour
Mark,
power
can we
supply,
swap?
toilets, kitchens, and other equipment that are necessary on the long term. So sadly, this is not the story of other communities in Brazil and nor in the Xingu. COVID has reached 156 of the 305 ethnic groups in the country, and 739 people have died. The photos, the image that you're seeing, it's not the most updated. It was from the 25th, but today there's 739 people who have passed, indigenous people who have died. And the fatality rate with indigenous people is 3 times higher than the normal population. And I have to say that Bolsonaro's government has done very little. In fact, the government is taking advantage of the pandemic to push through further deregulation of environmental policies in the country. And it's essential for us to understand the intersections between COVID and other threats to these communities, such as land invasion for agriculture, illegal mining, deforestation, and which makes the perfect mix to carry on the government's plan of exploiting the Amazon. And we know that COVID is especially severe with the elderly, and it has been devastating to the chiefs, to elders, and to the shamans in communities. So this is more than a toll of human life. It's actually an irreversible loss of knowledge, of history, of culture, of natural medicine to the world. And this is the photo of Chief Aritana, who died of the coronavirus 2 weeks ago. And he was one of the most influential leaders of the country. And he was one of the responsible for creating and demarcating the Xingu territory. So to finish my presentation, I just want to connect the COVID, the loss of the elderly, with 2 other things. One is the fire that destroyed Brazil's National Museum in 2018. This museum held the largest archive of Brazilian indigenous culture and history in the world. And this is a memory of, these are memories of entire nations that have disappeared with this fire. And also connect this to the fires in the Amazon, which are very different fires from what we are seeing in Australia and in California, for example. The fires in the Amazon, they are man-made, they are criminal fires. These are people who deliberately set fires after illegally cutting down trees to clear land for agriculture, for cattle, and for land speculation. The deforestation has accelerated during the pandemic in Brazil. There was an increase of 64% in the same month compared to 2019. So what I want to say is that indigenous peoples, not only in the Amazon, but in the world, they are the world's best allies in our fight against climate change. They are only 5% of the world population, but they occupy 20% of the planet's land and water, and they are responsible for protecting 80% of the global biodiversity. Where indigenous people have control of their land, forests are preserved and biodiversity flourishes. So it's really important that we, as civil society, support indigenous communities and organizations if we want to ensure a sustainable world for everyone. So thank you very much. I'm leaving my contacts in case anyone is interested in contacting or talking further, and I put the link to donate to our campaign as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiago. Can we leave that slide up for a bit with information on there? Just experienced all the emotions I've been experiencing here since March, and maybe before. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing and for your presentation. It felt triumphant,
It's a pleasure.
that you have brought to that community. And then the end of your presentation, I think anybody would feel there is so much more to do. It's so overwhelming. I don't know if everybody else is having these same feelings of 1 minute you have a triumph and the next minute you see the whole mountain of shit moving towards you. Our third presentation is Camilo Moreno from Tierra El Fuerte organization. Are you ready to present, Camilo?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you, Martin. Okay, yes, like Martin said, I'm Camilo. I'm a DJ and I'm a creative producer of the Radio Verdura sound system. I'm a member of Tierra Fuerte. So before I start my speech, I would like to say what is Tierra Fuerte. I think it's important starting for that. Tierra Fuerte is a cultural park based in Caracas, Venezuela, and was created 15 years ago. And his mission is create a space that allows the implementation of the cultural and artistic projects aimed at sociality disadvantaged sector as a way of creating a social, cultural, economic, and productive development that benefit them. So it's important to know what is Tierra Fuerte because Radio Verdura, the sound system, born in Tierra Fuerte almost 15 years ago, was an idea of the founder member of Tierra Fuerte, and his purpose was report all the workshop activities, concerts, and any kind of activity that Tierra Fuerte performed to all the nearby communities around the tuna. So we put some speakers in the truck and simulate like a radio station program and go out every Thursday and talk with the community about all the things we do. And actually have was very good received for the people of the community, and because was a new way to communicate these things. And we realized we have a really cool, fresh way to communicate the things. So we start to accompany to a different intervention, artist intervention around all the city, around all the country, different cities of the country, because it's a mobile sound system, so it was very easy to do that, accompanying that process. And social manifestation we accompany too. So we realize we don't only have a communicational platform, so also we have a element can convoking, can energizer and catalyzing a social process. So we got a very, very funny things and interesting thing in our hands. And in a my personal experience, like a DJ and creative producer in all that time was so nice, because I have a lot of knowledge, because I start to sell the street in a different way, with a different perspective. And I, like a DJ, I make a different connection with the audience. So what's very important for me was like a college, like a street college for me. So I learned a lot, and the crew learned a lot. So okay, we arrived to that pandemic situation, in Venezuela with all that knowledge we have like almost 15 years ago. So before continue, I would like to play some video. No, that is not the video. It's another one. It's another one. No, it's a longer, having like almost 2 minutes. It's with audio. Have an audio too. Okay. Yes. The video. If don't found the video, okay. Talking about what we convoke to do that during that time to the pandemic situation. We are in a very special situation here in Venezuela, like in all the world, because we don't know what happened in the beginning of the pandemic. So we need to do something, and yeah, we having an idea to go out with the truck, having a special permission with the institute, with the municipal institute to get out the truck to all the cities. So we decide to have a road with a tree spot. We decide to put that spot, in the place we have a lot of big building around to get to many people. So we got an audience for a spot like 3,000 or 4,000 people, and we transform the balconies and the windows into the theater seats. So if you have the count, it's more than, for example, it's more capacity of the Apollo Victoria Theater in London. So it's a lot. In the final day of one Radio Verduras on System Road, we got audience of 15,000 people. So we try to promote a new mode of participation in a public space. Yeah, because nothing happened during that time in the street because everybody are in home. So it's the perfect scenario to try to do a different things in the street. So, and it's analog. So we got sometimes here in Venezuela problem with the public service like energy, water. So it doesn't matter if the people have energy because we got all energy generation and go to the street with that. And when we arrive to the spot, we try to having a link, bidirectional link with the people. We search we share a cell phone number to the people can text to us and asking for songs, or can do message to the people, to the community. So we are open, to having space in the Radio Verdura to all the people want to be part of that. So actually we are like creating like a new way of social technology, and we can open a new way to communicate another kind of message into the neighborhood. So we propose a message of social dynamic and of love and peace. It's a way to promote the solidarity and to not lose the human contact, because now is with the social distance is hard to to having hug, to talk with the people in the neighborhood, to go out, and the kids play, I don't know, football, baseball in the street. So it's a way to don't lose the human contact, and it's so important. And if you realize the contact we have now here, and problem with the basic service, and more the pandemic situation crisis. So we need to something to distract the mind. So it's like a theater, therapy too, Caribbean therapy. We when we arrive to the spot, I'm start to put music, and the MC, my co-worker and my friend Mambel, start to talking with the people, and then start to change the dynamic of the neighborhood. And sometimes we put in like a live music, sometimes we have a dancing performance. So yeah, we share all of that. We all that difficulty. So we don't have the video, or we don't find the video. I really would like to play that. Hello? It's a longer one, have almost. Okay. Okay, so to do that, we faced a lot of difficulty, but we don't give it down, and sometimes it's really hard get the permission to go out, but we do all the bureaucratic things with the municipal institute to get that. It's not easy, but we get it. we are now, and we have an economic blockade now. So we don't exist in the global economic system. So sometimes it's hard get some things here that is easy in another countries, but we find the way. And in that point is it's really important be having an ally like in place of work, because they believe in the thing we are doing here, and decide accompanying to us in all that, and all that idea to create a new network, of love and happiness. So it's really important having that. So to make this proposal sustainable is hard, because not everybody understand that we do here. Some institutions think, okay, they are crazy in the street, doing crazy things. For me, it's okay, but no, everybody understand. And sometimes can be difficult go out with regularly things, regularly wait. So that's one of the difficulties we face it, but we're still, So we're finding now more allies to be able to give continuity to that project. So yeah, we are open, to share our experience with anybody. So we got sense to that kind of window, to having contact with other people, and this is a way to don't feel alone here, And yeah, we got a tough situation, but we are, happy to share, the love we have, with the art, with the culture, and we're still here, we're still strong. So that is all. You got the video for there.
I don't know if we have the video, Camille.
Okay. So don't worry.
But
I will write. Okay.
I think that I was a bit frivolous at the beginning of this when I said grassroots creative resistance to the pandemic. It sounds like an album by The Clash, but fuck, grassroots resistance. Nobody's waiting for the government to help, and here we are all, I think, inspiring each other. And I want to come to one of your events, Camille. That sounds fantastic. So I'm going to finish up with my presentation before we head into a discussion. I think they have my slides. So yeah, here we are. Oh, there we go. So I want to start with a quote from Toni Morrison, which I found inspiring. This is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we language. That is how civilizations heal. So my interest in art and creativity is as what I call a force multiplier. It's an energy that you create, you add to some other energy to multiply that energy. And here is, I should say, every one of my slides from now on has an F-bomb. So I apologize for that. But here's my own brand of coffee called Get the Fuck Out of Bed, from a company in Chicago called Dark Matter Coffee. And I was up at one of their 7 locations in March of this year when they announced that the country was shutting down. And I felt the fear. They have 7 stores and 110 employees. And I felt that fear in them of what are they going to do with all of their employees without being able to sell all of their different coffees. And I donated $100 to their employee fund, which felt good, but it also felt, in the grand scheme of things, meaningless. $100 was just $100. And by the time I got home to my office here in Chicago, I decided to create a new brand of my own coffee. Jesse at Dark Matter Coffee said, "We're sitting here with 30,000 pounds of coffee. We don't know what to do." So I just screen printed a simple bag. If you know about screen printing, it's just very simple. And I took, in the end, $300 of these bags up to Dark Matter Coffee. They combined it with the original bag of my Get the Fuck Out of Bed coffee and generated $15,000 in 10 days. So I call this the Dark Matter equation. It's that force multiplier of maybe $150 of supplies, some creativity and some energy is able to help generate $15,000 for Dark Matter rather than just giving them that money. So then we made some Stay the Fuck Inside t-shirts, and we start to distribute those around. A company here in Chicago, here's a good thing. Once you start to do things, more people will jump on board to help. A company here in Chicago donated some Stay the Fuck Inside buttons for us. And then we used the bags. This is where I start to experiment. We used the bags to create a mystery bag. There's no coffee inside of these. There's a t-shirt. And you could buy a bag on our website for $8 if you just want a shirt and a button. If you're doing okay, you can buy one for $18 or $28. If you're doing really well, buy one for $108. And anything over the $8 it costs us to do this and mail it out, we'll put into our fund. What was super interesting to me is that the first 140 bags that people purchased, almost as many paid $108 as paid $8. I thought most people would just buy the $8 bag. So then we start to have some money. We don't have to wait for a government to give us some money or in a punk way to give us permission to do anything. We start to have a little bit of money to put into our activities. So we start to make shirts, especially for different bars and small venues around the country. This is a bar in Detroit, Michigan. We gave them 20 shirts with the bags and the buttons. They added tickets for drinks and generated $900 with our $100 worth of effort. That's another Dark Matter equation. Here's a bar in New Orleans, tiny bar with the same package at $40 a piece. So we're able to start spreading this. And now it really starts to spread. We're sending out bags. Every bag has a personalized note from me to whoever's ordered the bags. We're enabled to send out more shirts, more packages to more businesses to try and help them through this time. Over in the corner there's my friend Yukio, a bonsai in Tokyo. Once Somerville, that's Massachusetts. Hope for the Day is suicide awareness and prevention based here in Chicago, the 13th floor in Austin, Texas. We're just spreading the word, trying to help small businesses and get people to stay inside. The coffee sells out. So it's time to create a new brand of coffee. We made Get the Fuck in the Shower, which also includes a part of organic goat's milk coffee soap included. So now we're taking this money and this activity and helping a company called Art Farm, who makes the soap. We're helping them generate some money too. And the word is starting to spread. And these stories, as important as the physical goods, these stories create dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and visibility. And then the racial tensions in the States start to overflow with the George Floyd situation in Minneapolis. And we start to pivot, we start to change our activity and our use of funds to helping minority businesses, Black-owned businesses. Here's a band in Chicago who donated all of their money on release day to the Chicago Food Depository. There are food deserts here in Chicago, and to bail funds to get protesters out of jail. So we donated the shirts for them so that they could raise more money. This is Chelsea Carter, who has her own fashion business. She's done some clothes for Chance the Rapper here in Chicago, and we helped her with a bunch of shirts. I Love You, Creative Summer Relief, providing materials to the youth here in Chicago. And then we just launched Brush the Fuck Out of Your Teeth, a new brand of coffee that has a toothbrush and some toothpaste. And now we have, we're commemorating the whole set of the last 6 months activity, which might seem held against everything that all of you are doing. It might seem frivolous, but this has helped me just by simply making some brown paper bags that say fuck on them. It's created funds for us to help other businesses. It's also been very helpful to us to remind ourselves that art and creativity can be a force for change. And there's that quote from Toni Morrison again. And I think I have my contact information here at the end. Flowers Fight for Sunshine is me on Instagram. I'm Martine on Twitter. And I want to say to all of the panelists, if I can send you some of these bags, if I can send you some t-shirts with some buttons, I'm happy to help in any way I can and stay connected with you. Wow, look at that. Just a few seconds till the hour. I think I'm done with my presentation.
Mark, do you want
now,
to
so
swap
if you
us
want to
now?
Put us back to the community slides. So, as I said, I didn't mean that to be frivolous in any way. This is me growing up as a punk in the UK. This is my reaction. So what is giving everybody hope at the moment?
This panel, this made me so happy today because it's so important to see how well-built communities and communities where individuals care for each other so much. It's so good to see these communities finding ways in this difficult time because, like we all said, we can count on our government. So we want different things for the future, but this is still time to live, you know. We are inside. There are a lot of things that we can do on daily basis, but when we put our efforts together, when we have these exchanges, we get a sense that the world is bigger than what we are facing right now. And we've been through so many things in the Black community, the Indigenous community, people who are striving every single day, the Latin America, the America itself.
Okay, just let me know when.
And we have been through so many things, and it's so good to see these initiatives helping other people and happening all over the world. So this is giving me so much hope today.
I think I tell my, I teach music industry at Millikan University here in the States. And I tell my students all the time, fuck the music business. What I want you to get to is a creative problem-solving mindset, which you need to put on events to make anything happen. It just happens to be very, very useful in all other aspects. When you go on tour, you're used to making a show happen when it shouldn't, making things happen. And so maybe in some ways, those of us who are involved in the creative community have some kind of an advantage and an obligation to share that. Camilo, I think we have your video, so
Yes.
we're able to show. Yes, Triumph.
Just put play.
Let's have a look.
Y ahora, con el COVID-19
Oh,
no
have
puede
an
haber
audio.
aglomeración
Have
de
an audio too.
personas. No habrá más eventos masivos. Solo Instagram. ¿Cómo aportamos a la cultura futura? Ya sé. Arte Delivery, Radio Verdura. Saca la cuenta. 4 personas por apartamento. 4 apartamentos por piso. 19 pisos por cada edificio. Y 4 edificios por sector. Serenata para 1.200 personas, protegidas en el calor de su hogar. Como es móvil, hay distanciamiento. Abarca más gente y más territorio. Como estudiamos las músicas del mundo, somos expertos en poner a bailar a la gente.
Un camión 350, una planta eléctrica de 6.5 kVA, 20 litros de gasolina, un DJ, un maestro de ceremonia, cámaras y acción.
Caída histórica de los precios del petróleo. Está difícil comprar los alimentos y las medicinas porque tenemos múltiples sanciones.
Bueno, tapabocas casero, alcohol, agua, jabón y distanciamiento.
Hay un buque de los gringos ahí mismito, arriba en el Caribe.
Y en las calles de Caracas está tú. Radio Verdura de calle 2021, la frecuencia liberada.
Carifuegos, seguimos. Nos vamos. ¿Te gusta? Música. Estoy en el Junquito, pero me avisaron de su música. Por favor, mándenle un saludo a mi mamá, Marisol. Y pandemia, lo mejor que he hecho es sacar las cosas buenas de todos nosotros y entender que somos seres humanos, que somos iguales, que tenemos las mismas necesidades en este momento, y la necesidad es estar sanos, gozar de buena salud para poder seguir trabajando, para poder seguir criando a nuestros hijos. Nos despedimos al son del padre de la música reggae, el que le habla la zona. Prende, apaga la luz y Venezuela es el mejor país del planeta entero. Prende, apaga la luz y me gusta la música. Prende, apaga la luz y Venezuela está
Communication with the people. We just create things to don't lose the human contact, like already said.
But it's incredible. Can I just say one thing? That is the fact that during the pandemic, and I think, Camilo, this is a perfect example of that, and this is so not spoken about, talked about, which is how art is actually an essential service for everyone, for our mental health during the pandemic. Art connected everyone was, listening to music, watching films, visiting museum exhibitions. Our entertainment is created because of this art, because of this. It's that human interaction that was cut from us with the isolation, and art still in that space. So it's a shame that we are not talking about the like how art is essential for the recovery of these worlds, for the resistance of these, for the rebuilding this new world, how badly funded our works are, and how essential we are to keep society safe and to navigate during this pandemic in a easier way. So congratulations, Camilo. I think you're a huge fan.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. We just asked why we got delivery of food and why we don't have delivery of culture, of art, because like you say, it's very important to the mental health. So, we just be creative and do things,
But Camilo, you delivered it. You made the delivery of vibe and hope and awesomeness, right? And so I alternate between music business, and I have my studio, and I'm an artist, and I'm screen printing my bags. But there should be a column on the spreadsheet. Of course, there's money in, money out, but there needs to be a column for stories, for vibe, for inspiration. These are valuable things, and I'm seeing people talk about art like it's art in a museum, but the art that matters now is more like a fucking sledgehammer,
Of course.
And art is a force. I don't know who is going to recognize that and help us. I think it's down to each of us to show that, which is a huge burden. But who, if not us, then who?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
You can go, Camilo.
Continue. No. Don't worry about it. Continue.
I was just going to say that right now it's more than surviving and resisting and fighting is also living. So the thing that you are bringing to your community reminds them that things are still happening, they're still alive. And I always talk about that because it's super important, because being more inside of the house, having more access to all this bad information that's going on all around the world without having many distractions is being so depressing. So it's really important to have these other tools, these creative tools, to feel like we are alive. So this is super important.
And also, we don't know. I think that the living, as you said as well, Anna, in the beginning, I think the living situations of people in different contexts are very different. When sometimes we are talking about isolate, stay at home, we are talking about entire families living in one bedroom apartments, sometimes with no space, with no opportunity to do anything, with barely windows, and maybe sometimes there's a digital exclusion as well. We think that people will be able to access Netflix, to go online and have the laptop to work, and it's not like that. So it's so important, I think, to understand the concept, the context, and the privilege and the underprivilege of some communities, and be able to offer something for them like you did. And it's so essential to understand that. And because I think the pandemic gave us the sense that this is a global pandemic. We are all in this together. We are not all in this together. I'm sorry. We are, there's a storm going on, but the boats are very different. People are in different boats navigating. And I think we need to recognize that as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. But the important thing is, start to know people having experience similar with a different context, and we must to start to share together or experience and find the way to know they connect or experience and do things, we all are different. We live in a different place, but we must to have that link to start to believe a different network, to the hope, to love, to happiness. So it's nice. I appreciate that opportunity to share with you guys all the thing we do here and listen to you, the beautiful thing you are doing for in Amazonas, in the Black communities in Brazil, in Chicago. It's nice because I don't feel alone here. I don't feel alone. Oh my God, we got that. We are in the same boat and we don't know that. So it's nice.
Yeah, it was good to connect with everybody on a Saturday. Yeah. So do you think when the pandemic is over, do you think things will return to normal, or what do you think, and will there be a new normal?
This is such a hard question because for so many people, like Thiago was saying, things didn't get any different because in some communities, people still needed to go to work, people were still at risk when we talk about police brutality here in Brazil. So this question is so difficult for me to answer because if you analyze different communities, you find different answers, of course. But I think that now people are getting a little more aware of things that are happening because, like, as I'm contradicting myself, because we get a lot of information from the internet. That is our connection points that we have right now, since we are trying not to leave home, and we see a lot of things that are really bad. But I think we are having more time to exchange and to get to know other realities. So I think people are now more aware, not because they don't want to, but maybe in the past people didn't have the time to stop and to listen to other people because of the busy lives we are living. I don't want to sound like super hopeful about this, but I think a little bit. I think people are listening to each other a little bit more. We are living difficult times, stressing times, but I feel like in some communities people are exchanging in a deeper level. So I think our things will be better in some points because we are exchanging a little bit more.
How about everybody else?
I want to be hopeful. Oh, sorry, Camilo, you can go first.
No, continue. Don't worry about it.
I want to be hopeful. Sometimes I tend to believe that we are going to go back again, and but I think there's no way that we cannot pass transformed through this in any way. I don't feel that we are going to have like a massive transformation, that we are going to start loving the things. I don't think we're going to cure polarization, for example, in Brazil or in the but I do hope that people will start believing again in science, for example, that they're going to trust science. I really hope that the Black Lives Movement will, affect a real change, a structural change in society. I really hope that we start working in different ways as well, working more from home, staying with our families, giving a different value to the activities that we have. This is all my wishful thinking, but I do think there will be some transformation for those people who are seeking to be transformed by the pandemic, by this experience. I think we are not going to be untouched by it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in I don't know, I think the big company is still having the control of the world. So that is the problem. So having more money actually. So I think I having hope when I see that kind of what you're doing. You know, I never lost the hope. We living in a very tough context here before the pandemic time, so we're still doing our things, and I think we must to put in effort to the thing we say we do, and try to use the mind and the love to do a creative things to be alive, you know, to be alive and fight to be happy. Actually, we fight to our right to live in peace, because it's difficult sometimes when you see the news and hear the news about Venezuela and Trump say, you know, you always think you are almost in war. So we defend our right to live in peace here, but we got a hope, and I think the new normality gonna be tough too, but we're gonna still to know work to change our reality. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I find myself alternating between hope that things here in America are moving towards change. I spoke with an artist yesterday called Add2, and he made an album last year called Jim Crow the Musical, and I thought the album was timely, and it was great for him to be speaking about the racial situation. And then I got more into his music and went back to 2005 to listen to some of his early music. And he was singing about the same things. So I'm hopeful that things are coming to a point of change. And I'm very thankful for this connection today, facilitated by In Place of War. I love what Ruth has been doing, and I'm very thankful that she brought us all together. So I think we're heading towards, is there an after panel Zoom chat? Does everybody have a link for that as we wind this down? I don't know if we want to end by going back to that video again. That was kind of uplifting for me. I'd like to see that again if we have that.
Okay.
We could show.
And Martin, can I say something just before? Let's do a t-shirt. Get the fuck out of my land for the indigenous communities.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, send me an email. I'll do that. I'll send you some.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Anna, do you want me to do a shirt for you?
So many things.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like thinking about it. I want to say so many things through that shirt. So I would think maybe it would be like a whole collection of things. A whole collection of shirts, buttons, and everything else, because there are so many things to say. I don't even have a phrase right now, a quote right now, because it'll be like this long.
Okay. And Camille, also, if you want a shirt, send me an email.
Okay. I got your contact. Thank you.
Good deal. Here comes the video again. Let's end with this really inspirational work that you're doing.
Okay. Take us off, Mark.
Y ahora, con el COVID-19 no puede haber aglomeración de personas, no habrá más eventos masivos, solo Instagram. ¿Cómo aportamos a la cultura futura? Ya sé. 4 apartamentos por piso, delivery, 19 pisos por cada edificio y 4 edificios por sector. Serenata para 1.200 personas, protegidas en el calor de su hogar. Como es móvil, hay distanciamiento, abarca más gente y más territorio. Como estudiamos las músicas del mundo, somos expertos en poner a bailar a la gente.
Un camión 350, una planta.
Como estudiamos las músicas del mundo, somos expertos en poner a bailar a la gente.
Un camión 350, una planta eléctrica de 6.5 kVA, 20 litros de gasolina, un DJ, un maestro de ceremonia, cámaras y acción.
Caída histórica de los precios del petróleo. Está difícil comprar los alimentos y las medicinas porque tenemos múltiples sanciones.
Bueno, tapabocas casero, alcohol, agua, jabón y
Brilliant.
distanciamiento.
They said they were ending with
Hay un
that.
buque de los gringos ahí mismito, arriba en el Caribe.
Y en las calles de Caracas está tú. Radio Verdura de Calle 2021, la frecuencia liberada.
Lo mejor que ha hecho es sacar las cosas buenas de todos nosotros y entender que somos seres humanos, que somos iguales, que tenemos las mismas necesidades en este momento y la necesidad es estar sanos, tener, gozar de buena salud para poder seguir trabajando. Las mismas necesidades en este momento y la necesidad es estar sanos, tener, gozar de buena salud para poder seguir trabajando, para poder seguir criando a nuestros hijos. Nos despedimos al son del padre de la música reina, el que le habla al amor. Apaga la luz y Venezuela es el mejor país del planeta entero. Prende, apaga la luz y me gusta la música. Prende, apaga la luz y Venezuela está avanzando.
Looks like it might only be us at the moment, anyway. If it is, then we can just toss out. They're probably still watching the video. Good. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that session, except I couldn't understand
Camilo.
man from Venezuela very much, which is why I let you go on for a bit longer than you should have done, really, because I thought, well, you go.
I was, yeah,
I was-
I wasn't getting, yeah, I was